Hi, girlies. Welcome to Book Please Podcast. We're so excited to be here today. I have my girlies with me.
Hi, it's Nata.
Hi, it's Amanda.
And we have a very special guest with us. We have been reading The Owner and the Wife, and the author, Sarah Arcuri, is here with us. We're so excited to have her. She's an author, an influencer, a dog mom. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, girls. It's so good to be with you.
We're so happy to have you. I swear we manifested this. We've been talking about it. We were so, Nata's the OG follower
Yes.
at the Sweet
Aw.
Paisana on Instagram.
I love it. I'm loving all your commentary. Your predictions were my favorite part of the podcast. I was like, where did they get these ideas? It was so interesting to hear where you thought the story was going to go.
I think the problem is that we just are off of a thriller kick. So we're so used to these crazy outlandish plot twists, and everyone's head is come back down to earth.
Yeah, because this is full on just a romance, It's real life.
My favorite.
Yes. Mine too.
Well, Sarah, you started as an influencer though, right? Because I found you during COVID. I was looking through TikToks and Instagram videos, and I could totally relate to your content because I love everything Italian, cooking, fashion. You kill it in that.
Thank you.
So how did you get started with all that?
So I've actually been the Sweet Paisana since I think almost 10 years now. That's been my Instagram handle for so long. But then, so I think it was 2015 or 16, I started a blog because we didn't have, TikTok back then. So I would literally type recipes. I would cook with my grandma and we would take pictures and I would upload everything. And that was my blog was the Sweet Paisana. I would go to restaurants and everything I'm doing now, but I did it as a blog. And then my Instagram really didn't start taking off and my TikTok since I think it's been a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. And my first cooking video went viral and I was okay, now I really want to get into this. So I just kept it going. And the whole time though, I was this is all going to be to promote the book. Cause the whole time I was writing the book. So I did all Italian stuff, all Italian food, everything relating to the book and just building my brand. But it's been, for such a long time, this has been my persona basically, but I started as a blog.
What did your friends and family think of it? When you were blowing up and your face is everywhere in the Italian community.
Oh my God. My grandma.
She is the Italian community.
Thank you guys. No, my grandma is so cute. She calls them my movies, my little TikToks.
Oh, I love that.
So my aunts will show her my TikToks and stuff. And then she'll call and we'll talk about it. So it's really cute because all my aunts watch it. It's so cute.
And now you have an interesting side thing that you're doing, Paisana's Passport, right? Where you're going to these different restaurants and you're kind of reporting on them. Saw some Soprano content, which I absolutely love the Sopranos.
That's my most viral content.
I'd imagine everybody loves the Sopranos.
It's crazy. So I'm doing this new series, Paisana's Passport, because I was doing so much cooking content, but ever since I got Chi-Chi, my dog, I can't, I don't have as much time as I used to. And it's just, not the vibe right now. So I got more into restaurant reviewing and doing different activities and I'm having so much fun with it. And people are really enjoying it.
Let them know about the dog mom life because sometimes, I'm a little late because I'm a mommy now and I've had my dog for a year. And it's been life change.
Literally, she's always late. So let's just,
I forgive you now, though. This makes sense now.
Oh, no. I mean, it does change your life. I mean, completely.
We'll hang up and they'll be okay, we're meeting here. I'm okay, I have to walk the dog. I have to feed him. I have to make sure he's good. I have to let him know mommy's going to be back home soon. Find a good toy.
Justice for dog moms.
Yes.
One more thing, since we were talking about the Sopranos, I can't let this go. Favorite Sopranos character?
I mean, I love Tony, but I also love Carmela.
I know you do.
She's just she's my girl. She's the OG Italian housewife. She nailed that character. The nails, the hair, everything, the attitude. I love it. I live for it. She's the best.
I love Aid. Like, I absolutely love her. Like, her and Chris, in a sick way, it was like goals. Even though it's so far from it, I absolutely love them, and they played the roles so well. It's so good.
It's honestly, like, when you watch it, it does not feel like they're acting because it's so natural. And those are like the best shows when it doesn't feel like acting. It's just like you're watching you believe that's who they really are. Like, that's how good they are.
Yes. So that's got like that mobster theme to it, and a little bit of that is in your book as well, talking about the mobsters and Enzo. Is that from like the Goodfellas, Casino, Sopranos? Did you get those ideas from that?
You know, it's so weird. Like, so I started writing the book in 2016, and like I have like this theory. I'm like, my characters just like come to me. Like, I know who they are as soon as they show up. Like, there's no really like pre-planning. It's just like somebody literally like steps in my brain. So he's always just kind of had like that personality, like that charm. Like, I can't explain it. Like, if you watch like a Goodfellas or Casino or something, like they have that charisma. That's just how Enzo has always been. So like, it's so natural for him to get into that life because he wants like the power and just to feel invincible and the money and the status. Like, that's all his vibe, you know?
Yeah. Is that what inspired you to write the book? Like, did you just like, it kind of came to you, or like did you know you were going to write a book?
I mean, I always like knew I wanted to write Italian-American stories. But up until that point, like I was just like jotting down ideas, or like I'd write a scene, something like that. But then I had like one chapter came to me. So I sat down one night in 2016 and I just wrote one chapter. And then I was like, like this one's different. So I sent it to my best friend at the time. I'm like, what do you think of this? Like, I just wrote it. And she was like, you need to write more because I want to know what happens next. So then that's how I kept it going. And every night I would send her like whatever I wrote and we would like discuss it. She'd help me with some ideas and stuff. And it just like kept going. And the whole summer I spent writing the book, and it was crazy. Like, I had no plot, like outline, nothing. Like, I just, whatever came to mind, I wrote it.
Was Scarlett the first character that came to mind for you? Was she the original?
Yes, she's the OG.
Is she inspired by you?
Yeah, girl, you're Scarlett. Like, you're not even Paisana, you're not Sarah anymore. You're just like Scarlett.
No, like you said it in one of the podcast episodes, like Scarlett's who I want to be. Like, yes. Like, she's goals. Like, she's a mess, but she's also goals. Like, I can't explain it. She's like nervy, but also like she's got her life together, but she totally does not. Like, she's just, I don't know. She's just like who I would want to be. Basically, like, she's like the aspirational version of me, maybe. I don't know.
Is anyone in the book like based off of, or anything in the book like inspired by your life?
So I was an actual waitress. Like, I've worked almost every job in a restaurant, and now I'm married to a restaurant owner, which we can get into that because it's so crazy. I didn't meet him till after I started writing the book. But so a lot of like actual like technical restaurant stuff is all like, there's that scene in Fausto says, "Bulls are not your friend, bulls are the enemy." That was an actual like dialogue.
We got to get to that line, girl, because
wait till you hear our next episode.
Yeah, wait till you hear our next episode.
The chills. We both cried.
We both cried when it was her turn to train the newcomers. It was just such a full circle moment, saying those words again to her staff. I absolutely loved it.
I'm gonna cry.
I know. And like the way that you were like, then she's the magic. I lost it. That was it.
I love that part.
Yes, that's so sweet. No, but it was such a full circle moment. But so that part was taken from a real training session I had at this big restaurant group. That actual dialogue. There was this character, he was training us like with a wooden bow tie. And I was like storing that away. Like, as he was saying, I'm like, wow, like I'm going to use that someday. And I did.
So you said you worked in a lot of restaurants. What was your favorite restaurant to work at, and what position were you working in the restaurant?
So my first restaurant job was at my cousin's bakery, and then that was like very casual, and I did literally everything, like barista, busser, everything. And then a few months after working there, I went to this restaurant. I lived in Little Italy in Baltimore City, a restaurant called Aldo's. It's no longer in business. And I started as a hostess, and then I ended up being a waitress there. And that was really fine dining, upscale, and just all like the high roller customers, you know, so it's a lot that you see in the book, like the actual restaurant interactions, like when Scarlett gets the cappuccino spilled on her. That happened to me.
Oh my God,
it's like,
no.
Yeah. I was like in the kitchen sobbing. She handled it better than I did.
No.
I was like hysterical and somebody else had to finish my section. So I learned like so much about like actual restaurant technical fine dining stuff there. And that's, you know, what made it into the book from that. But it was so like, it's so fun to work. Like, I'm glad I had that experience. You know what I mean? Like learning about wines and just like the people you work with. It's just such a fun environment. And we only were open for dinner. So like I would spend all day at the pool writing, and then I would go to work, and I'm like, it was like crazy, like a parallel life with the book.
That sounds like so much fun.
Would you say it's kind of similar to the book where when you work in that restaurant, it's like a family? Like I feel like when I worked in hospitality, it's like a family. And I loved reading that in the book. It was just like Fausto was great. I love Julie. If this becomes a movie and you need someone to play Julie.
Yes. I'll play the blonde Scarlett version.
Yes.
I
know. I wanted her to like stay blonde, and I was like, oh, my girl's got to be a brunette like me.
Yeah. I find it so interesting that you said that you hadn't met your husband at this point. It's like you put it out there.
You manifested
like, that is
wild.
This is your
Everybody
life.
says that. Everybody says that to me. It's wild. And his name's Franco.
Oh, girl.
We thought Francesco was a play off of maybe your husband, or like I knew at least that the restaurant was called, it shouted out the restaurant in New Jersey.
Yeah, Fresco de Franco in Montclair. That's my husband's restaurant. But yeah, no, I met him exactly a year later from like when I started writing the book, which is insane.
Oh.
It's insane.
Amazing.
Okay. So what's your favorite Italian dish?
So there's a pasta dish I love. It's in the book. It's called bucatini amatriciana, and it's a Roman dish. But that's like I'm in a phase right now. That's my go-to. And then I love puttanesca. That's another favorite of mine.
Yum, yum.
Yes.
The book made me so hungry the whole time.
Right?
We were like, we need a pasta dinner. Like we should
have had pasta tonight while we're chatting.
I know.
We didn't think about that.
Next time you're in Florida, we'll go to an Italian place or something. Maybe
definitely. We have to do that.
Now, okay, if you were able to choose your dream cast for the movie, obviously you're playing Scarlet Girl, we know that. But the other characters, who are you imagining?
I've only been able to see one actor two who I would like for Francesco. Enzo, I haven't seen anybody that really captures, like, I feel like, okay, you watch all those old gangster films and stuff, the guys like were so manly and had so much like charisma. Mm-hmm. Like there's nobody really today that has that feeling. But the actor from Daisy Jones and the Six who plays Billy, I could see him playing Francesco because Francesco's tall. He's got like the long curls. He's got a totally different vibe. He's like artsy.
What's his name? I gotta look him up now.
Okay, let me say. Can I show you guys on the
screen? Yeah, show us.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it. Oh,
with the curly hair,
for sure.
Yes, obviously.
With the curly hair. Yes. And then there's one other actor, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, they're not Italians, but he has the curly hair too in some of his pictures.
You know who could play Enzo, actually? Have you seen 365?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's great too. Oh, yeah.
Right?
365? Who was that?
The main guy in 365?
No, I know who you're talking about. He's not for that role.
And he is Italian.
Oh. I know he's very famous.
Yeah, he's
very cute. He can't be an Enzo. He could be an Enzo.
Wasn't he just on the Kardashians, that guy?
He was. He was at a fashion show. Yes, with Chloe.
Beautiful man. Beautiful.
Yes, they tried to set her up. I remember this. He's like the face of Dolce, isn't he?
I think he is.
That's a great call out. It's a contender for sure.
I don't know if I see him for Enzo, though.
I started sending the options. I love Enzo's my favorite, so I feel like I should have a say.
Enzo's my favorite too.
Yes,
we can bond over this.
We need to know.
I love him. I just love him. I don't know. I know he's the bad boy, but I love him.
Well, girl, we all love the bad boys. Come on, like we just
exactly. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
You don't want safe and boring.
I know.
But I have to say, I was sad at the ending because we didn't find out what happened to Enzo.
Well, that's why I'm writing book 2.
Oh my gosh. Could you give us like a little glimpse, like a little something?
Okay, let's think. Okay, so it was always designed to be 2 books. So I always knew it was going to be 2 books. So in book 2, it's dual timeline. So it's going to be flipping. They're like 4 years or 5 years into their marriage, Francesco and Scarlett, and then flipping to like 2009. So like 4 years after Francesco passes away. I will say Enzo does get divorced. So, that happens. And then the love triangle does not end.
Oh,
no.
Our hearts can't
do that to me.
Like, what?
You have to hear. So by the time this recording comes out, we'll have already dropped like the last part, and we're like, no, he's gonna be like this uncle, like
he's gonna be with Helen, like
no. I actually think it's gonna start with him walking into the door, and then they like ended up together after he passed away.
I don't like that.
I mean, because they're gonna have that bond, right? They're gonna have that bond because they both lost, someone they cared about.
That happens a lot.
It does, yeah.
Will Scarlett get a dog? Let's write this in there, Sarah.
It's funny you say that because, so have you guys seen my TikTok where I'm like acting as Scarlett?
Yeah, I follow the page, girl.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So in her TikTok, like she has, it's me, obviously. I always say her TikTok. She has Chi-Chi, right? I'm like, oh, my beautiful Yorkie, like acting as Scarlett. I'm like, I need to put Chi-Chi in the book now because now Scarlett's on the record with the dog. So I think present day Scarlett will have a dog named Chi-Chi. I want to memorialize Chi-Chi forever.
For sure. I know. She, you have to understand, it's like your whole life. It's just, there's nothing like it.
She needs a little companion,
Another part in the book too where I was like a little saddened was when her mom sold the bar. A part of me wishes that she would have given her that chance to prove herself and just held on to it to kind of have that one last ditch effort to repair their relationship. Like, here, I'm giving you this. I do believe in you. Fly with it.
Right. I think, Scarlett's mother was like really hard for me to write because my mom is so the complete opposite. Like my mom's the most supportive person. We're like best friends my whole life. So I would say was the hardest person for me to write because I always knew she was like this hippie kind of personality, just kind of non-committal with men, had addiction issues. So she was really hard for me to figure out because there was no one in my life like that, but I just knew she had to be like that. But I think I didn't want it to be like super clean cut where they have like this beautiful happy ending. You know what I mean? It's like they made amends, but then it's like, okay, is she going to stay sober? Are they going to stay in touch? Like, what's it going to be like when she becomes a mom? So that all is explored also in book 2. But that makes sense. That's a good point.
But I did like that it shows that, at the end of the day, she didn't need it. She went out and she made her own place. And she was like, she thrived. So
yeah, and that was important too for me, like when I was writing it, like when Francesco went into the hospital and like she needs her moment, like to prove to herself that she can do it on her own without his help. And that was really, really key for me, for her to know that, you know what I mean? Like she got it ready. No, she didn't have to run it by herself, but she had her moment where she was shining, like she was the leader.
That was one of my favorite parts to read when he walked in and saw everything she did. Like when they were talking about their favorite part, I was like, it's going to be this part because that's my favorite part. And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, I thought it was so cute. He was so proud of her. Like I know. Oh, it was so cute.
They're cute.
I'm a hopeless romantic. I mean, I must say I'm kind of like not that way. I don't really read a lot of love stories, but this one, I mean.
No, I'm a love story queen. What is your favorite genre?
Romance, like romantic comedies. I don't like, and like women's fiction, I would say, but like if there is no love story, like I'm not picking the book up. Like I have to have a love story in the book. Like even if it's a B story, like I need some romance in there. So any kind of women's fiction that has a romance in it or just like romantic comedies. I love it.
Totally agree. Do you have a favorite author?
I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. So she wrote Daisy Jones and the Six. Emily Henry, she's super hot right now. I read Colleen Hoover. Did you guys read it? Ends with Us.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
But I've tried to tell Nat that like it's a layered book. It's not just like, oh, boy and a girl. I love the story. It has it has different layers. It's deep. But also I loved how at the end of every book, when you read it, you find out that the title has nothing to do with a love story. You know, it's much deeper than that. It's not just about like a man or something. And I thought it still had like that element of like women's empowerment or, you know, different points in life.
Right. I did read her sequel to it though. I did not like the sequel. It
a lot of people
flat
say
for me.
That.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not necessary.
Right.
Your book is necessary and we need it.
There's a lot of like, and then in the epilogue, like I was like, how much do I give away? Like I rewrote that last chapter that's in present day so many times because I'm like, what do I give away? Like I didn't want to make it super long, you know what I mean? It just like wanted to close this chapter, but no, like there's a lot more to come that happened.
What I loved about your writing style and how you wrote the book was the chapters didn't just drag and drag. It was just a nice amount of pages and then next chapter and then nice amount of pages and next. I hate when, you know, authors write 20 pages in one chapter. It's like, come on already. Like, am I any closer? Like,
I know, like I do, like I think you said in one of the episodes, like you flip ahead to see how many pages are left because like you get tired and stuff, and I do that. So I love short chapters. I was actually repped by a literary agent for a while before I decided to do things myself, but he was really like nailed in my brain, like do short chapters. So I got to give him that. But I agree, like as a reader, I enjoy that more.
Yes, for sure. And then one last question with Enzo, because just we're all obsessed with Enzo. This triangle that you created, where did that come from? Like the brothers and the one woman, like where, because it's so risque, you know, it's very risque to talk about something like that. Where did that come from?
Yeah. Honestly, like, I don't know. I always knew there was two brothers, and like, so in the original draft, the brothers were a lot older. So there was that element in there that, you know, I ended up changing that kind of piece of it, but it's just always been the setup, and like the brothers are so different. So I think like the way I've kind of designed it now that I know a little bit more about story structure than I did when I first started writing it, it's really like twin flame versus soulmate is kind of how I view them.
So true.
Yeah. So like, you know, Francesco really balances Scarlett. They're very different. They have different talents. And it's like Enzo and Scarlett are so alike. They're good at the same thing. So it's like they like different elements of her and they connect with different elements of her. And I think they see her in different ways. And I don't know, they all like each one needs each other. So it's like it's a very interesting puzzle to how they affect each other.
What was that process like when you have this story? How do you know where to go from there for anyone listening who may be interested in writing their own book?
So usually like I don't start writing something until I know the ending. I like to know where I'm headed. It's just really connecting the dots in between of like, okay, how do we get from the opening image to the end point? And it's also like, where do you start the story? That's super key to not start too early, not start too late. Like you want to start kind of right before like the big conflict or what we call the inciting incident. So that's really key for me. But I would say so much of the writing process for me happens when I'm not writing, like just being out here in the Hamptons and like taking in like the sounds and the sights, the smells, like really just getting like, what's the feeling that I'm feeling being in a place like this? So like setting's really important for me. And the book, The Owner and the Wife, is set in the 80s. So I listened to 80s music for like, I don't know how many years now. Like that's all I've been listening to. So it's just like really getting into like the vibe of the book. And I do a lot of visualizing before I sit down to write. So I visualize scenes. So when I sit down to write, then like I know exactly what I'm going to write because I have the scene in my head. So that's my writing process usually is I have the scenes already in my head before I sit down to write.
One thing I appreciated too was how descriptive you were. Like I felt like I was in the room. Like I saw everything. Especially when you were writing about the food. So detailed, and I absolutely love that. I thought that was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
How long have you been in Jersey? Because all these I was loving as a Jersey girl, like all these little references. I was like, just obsessed. Because you grew up, you said in Baltimore, right? So
I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, which is like this really all-American sailing town. But we have like the biggest Italian family in Maryland, like huge. I have so many cousins. So then I grew up with my mom, and that was our thing, was to go to New York City together, and we would go see Broadway shows, and like every birthday we would go because our birthdays are 4 days apart. So that was always our thing growing up. And then when I met my husband in 2017, he's from Jersey, and he's the ultimate Jersey guy. So he's so Jersey. So then, we just like, I just like explore Jersey, and then like we do New York stuff all together, like all the time. Like we're always in the city and Hamptons, upstate, you know, whatever it is. Like we were doing things all the time. So it's like I got to really explore the city more than I did because we lived right there. So, you know, it's funny how it worked out.
It's funny how life works out sometimes.
I know.
What did your husband think when you gave him the book to read, like full start to finish?
Oh yeah, did he read it?
No, he did not read it.
Honestly, I was thinking that too. I was like, maybe there's a boundary there where he's just like, I support you, but I'm not reading it.
I wonder, because like he is so supportive. Like he threw me this huge book release party at the restaurant and stuff. It was amazing, right? But I mean, I've given him the book and stuff. He read like, I would say a couple pages, but he totally has like ADHD. He's not a reader. Like I've never seen him pick up a book. He's just not. And most guys aren't that I know. So he's not a reader. So I'm not too surprised, but he'll totally like brag on me and tell all his friends to buy the book and everything. So he's sweet in that way. Yeah. But he's not a reader. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever read it. I think if it gets made into a movie, then he'll know what the story's about. I don't think he's going to listen. The audiobook should be coming out in the next couple of weeks too. It's just in like the processing part.
When you played that Instagram video, which I absolutely loved, and it was the voice of Enzo, whose voice was that?
So we hired 3 actors. So there's an actor for Enzo, an actor for Francesco, and an actor for Scarlett. And they professionally recorded it in a studio.
His voice fits perfectly.
Perfect, right? So I had to wait. He was filming a movie because they're like real actors. And they were like, do you want to wait? And I'm like, he's perfect. I don't want anybody else. I'm like, I don't care how long I have to wait for him. He's perfect.
Good choice.
Shout out to you for doing different characters, because I just cannot get into Amanda's an audio queen. I cannot get into those books when they change their voice for each character, and I'm like, you're playing a 3-year-old, you're playing a grown man, you're playing a young woman. I cannot do it.
Well, that's funny you say that. So I don't listen to audiobooks, but I had to obviously listen to mine to proof it. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, she would change her voice to play Julie, and I'm like, that's not how Julie sounds in my head, but it's like, that's how they have to do so many different voices. I was not expecting that, but I guess I was like, you know what? I trust them. This is what they do for a living, but it was a new thing for me. I don't listen to audiobooks, but it sounds really good. I think people are going to like it.
Did you get like samples? How do you audition these people?
Yeah. So I hired a recording studio or a production company. I don't know. It was some studio in New York City. And they gathered a bunch of auditions. I sent them passages, and they sent me all different actors reading it, and I chose them. So it was really interesting to hear. I'm like, oh my God, like they're reading my words out loud. It's wild.
Yes. That is crazy. Just wait till it's a movie.
Just wait.
I can't wait.
Hopefully I get a red carpet ticket. Please, Sarah, a red carpet
You girls,
ticket.
yes.
We're going to be in the movie.
To the premiere.
Yeah. Helping me with the casting.
Right?
Yes.
Oh boy. Love, love, love.
Love, love, love.
It's like her favorite phrase. So we're doing merch, and we have a t-shirt literally that says love, love, love.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh my
you have
gosh,
to do
so
owner
cute.
and the wife merch.
I know we need to like pick out like the best lines or something like that, or like hashtag Team Enzo,
Yes.
like, different things, you know.
I'd wear it.
Yeah,
We
I'll
are-
wear it too.
Still living in your book. Like, we cannot.
We relate everything
Yeah,
to it.
everything.
Everything.
And I love whoever you tag them. They did a pie of the cover of the book. They did such an amazing job.
That was so cool. Like, I mean, I didn't know how she was going to interpret it, but it was so cool with the pasta on top.
Yeah,
it was really neat.
Such a good job.
Yeah. But no, it's funny. Like, a lot of people are messaging me. They're like, I feel like I'm in the book. Like, I'm like, wow. Like, it's not just me, like, living in this fictional fantasy for the last 6 years, like, or 7 years, however long it's been. Like, we all feel that way.
But I think it takes like a special, like, it is your writing, like, not to use your verbiage, but it's like, it has that magic. You can put together whatever, you know, story that could be great in your head, but you really bring it to life with the way that you describe everything. And we were just really taken by it. So it was amazing.
So
I cried
happy.
twice. I cried twice reading it.
We did. We were so emotional.
Oh, I'm so happy you guys, like, it resonated with you guys. That means a lot.
100%.
It was very realistic, I felt like, too. I mean, even though the brother part, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was super
that doesn't happen.
But what I meant
all the time. I meant with like
guys,
the mother.
I mean, real talk. Were you guys like, what the heck is going on here?
No, I was like, can that be me?
No.
You've never been at that point where you're like, oh, both friends are kind of cute or something,
no,
guys. Like,
for me, it was like their blood. And like, I don't know, for me, that part was so hard to get past because I'm like, how could two brothers do this? But then I was so happy at the ending that I know that you're saying like a love triangle is coming, but I love what she had when she got married and the kids, and I don't know.
Like, stop.
No, I love it.
I know. She's about to change her book.
I know, change her.
This is what makes it saucy and captivating.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right.
Now I'm wondering who the father is.
It's still up for, we don't know. We don't know.
I
told you, the love triangle's not over.
Oh my gosh. Welcome to the
Maury
show.
It, Enzo ended up being a good guy at the end. Everything he did was because he loved his brother. Yeah. So, I mean, I won't knock it if they end up together. I won't knock it.
He has a lot of redeeming qualities. Like, he has a funny, I don't know, like that whole thing, like he's got a good heart, but he just
demeanor.
He's like that guy that you just can't stop going back to.
No, I know. You just
I'm in an Italian phase right now with men.
I've been in an Italian phase my entire life. Like literally.
No, I mean, now after this book, I'm like.
That's why when we were in Jersey, I'm like, girl, we're gonna find you somebody here.
Yeah. Did that happen? No.
You were, well, we'll
come
go
see
back.
Me. We'll work on
I love that, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah.
The real reason why we're here.
The real reason. The audition.
Yeah.
Paisana's matchmaking service.
Yes, I love that. A new business venture for you.
Yes, you never know. We know a lot of people. Just come on.
Is there anything else, Sarah, that we like don't know about you that, or something that you think surprises people about you?
What we were talking about before we came on, like I'm very like outgoing on social media and stuff, but I'm so reserved in real life. It's funny. Like I feel like in real life, I fit that author stereotype more where I'm like introspective and I like my alone time. Like that's like really me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like Miss Life of the Party or anything. I don't know if I come across like, it's like so weird to know how you're perceived by people. I mean, you never know how you're perceived by people on the internet, but.
So is all this fame kind of nerve-wracking for you? Like, how are you handling all the fame that's coming with the book?
I don't feel like I'm famous
what?
at
You're
all.
The sweet paisano,
no. I know, but like I just feel like so regular. But then at the same time, it's like my whole entire life I wanted to be like a movie star. And I used to like in elementary school practice my autograph like all the time. Like all my tablets was just my autograph, right?
Yes. That's why I got into journalism. I was like, I'm in broadcasting. This is it for me. Like,
yes. And that's what I was going to go to NYU to get my master's in journalism. And then I decided not to go so I could work on the book.
Wow.
But that was what I was going to do, was broadcast journalism. But it's funny you say that. So it's like weird. It's like I feel so like regular, but then at the same time, it's like I want to be like Kim K, like on the cover of Italian Vogue.
I relate so heavily to that because it's like sometimes you just have something instilled in you. Like for me too, I'm outgoing and I'm loud and I'm like whatever. I have this passion for these things and I want to like study journalism and I'm on camera on things, but at the same time I'm like so like pit in my stomach, nervous about it. And my friends growing up, like they were always like, how do you know what you want to do? And it's like sometimes it's harder when you know what you want to do because nothing else fulfills you. Like when you know you have this calling, nothing else fits unless you really follow your purpose. And I commend you for being like, you know what, I'm going to stay and write this book because you knew that's what was in you and look what came of it.
Yeah. And it's a risk because you never know, like especially something like creative, you don't know if it's going to resonate with anyone, like especially something as risky like a woman falling in love with two brothers. You don't know if people are going to receive it. So I was like, okay, like I just feel like this is a story because I worked with agents and editors who wanted to make significant changes to the book.
What was the biggest change they wanted to make?
So I was signed by an agent and he really wanted me to make it like a very stereotypical Italian story with like a grandma rolling meatballs kind of thing. And he wanted it to be more female empowerment. So like, yes, she might fall in love with one of the brothers, but at the end she like chooses herself and has this whole career and it's all about her career. And I was just like, that's not the story. Like I know in my heart that's not the story. That's not what I want to write. Even moving forward, like all I want to write is about relationships. Like that's what I really feel like I'm supposed to be writing about. So I ended up, I was just like, you know what, we're going in two different directions. I'm going to, we're not going to work together. And we ended like totally amicably and everything. But I had to choose, like, I'm like, I know there's an audience for this story and I just have to do it. So I just had to trust my gut. But
I'm so glad you did.
It's yeah.
Same.
I'm so glad you guys, enjoyed it and everything.
Yes, loved it, girl. Loved it. Are you coming to Florida anytime soon?
Probably not till the fall. That's the plan right now. But the summer's just like flying by. So we're up here for the rest of the summer, and then after hurricane season, we'll be back.
Love that.
That's fine. Just keep writing so the book can come out.
Yeah, keep hibernating and writing so it'll be out in the fall.
I told my husband, I'm like, we need to be in the Hamptons though, because that's where book 2 is set, is in Montauk. And I was like, I need the inspiration all around me all summer. This is my writing place.
Oh, that's perfect.
Next time it's in Italy. You gotta justify it. Be like, oh, honey, we have to go to Italy now.
Yes.
The dream vacation spot, Italy, for sure.
Totally. I know. We're supposed to be going in September.
Can't wait to see all the documentation on Instagram.
I'm like, I'm going to drive myself crazy with the documentation.
I know it is. It's a job, but you do.
It's a job.
You do it well.
Yes, you do.
But it's
so
fun.
You have at the Sweet Paisana on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You have your TikTok, but then also Scarlett's TikTok. What is that? It's at Scarlett Marie Valenti.
Yes. So Scarlett with 2 T's, Scarlett Marie Valenti. That's her TikTok. She's not as active on Instagram.
Scarlett.
Scar, get with
yes,
it.
Scar. I love calling her Scar. I'm like, Scar. Like, where did that name come from, girl? Because it's such a unique name.
She's about to name her daughter Scarlett.
Oh, literally. Like, so when I have a girl, God willing, I want to name her Pia. But my mom's like, like you could have this daughter and like you're gonna look at her and be like, she doesn't look like a Pia, right? So I was like, I need to use this name because I love it. So I was like, all right, Scarlett's daughter is gonna be named Pia.
I love it.
So just in case I don't use it, that's Scarlett's daughter's name. But Scarlett has always been Scarlett. The boys' names, I will say, they have changed a few times.
Oh, okay.
Was Enzo always Enzo?
No, I think at one point he was like Giuseppe or something. There was like
Still
a few different
it.
names, but he's such an
Enzo.
Enzo.
He's an Enzo, for sure.
I look for my Enzo everywhere.
Yes.
Totally.
Sarah, we've had such an amazing time speaking with you. We are so excited for this next book. We cannot wait. I'm waiting for the dog to show up.
Yes.
And I'm waiting for the movie.
We really we are just so taken by you and all that you have done with your career. And you really are the embodiment of Scarlett. You're classy, you're intelligent, you're empowering. And we're so happy to be here with you today. And we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for everything, for having me. It's been so much fun chatting with you guys. And I can't wait to hang out when we're in Florida.
Yes,
100%.
Definitely.
We have to.
All right, girlie.
We'll
have a nice evening.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Right,
bye, guys.
We hope everyone enjoyed this special episode with our guest author. We love having Sarah on, and hopefully many more authors to join us in the future. Our next book, you guys, is The Alchemist. We cannot wait to start reading this. We're going to be doing part 1 for next week, so it should just be a nice light read for you guys. It's about 50 pages.
Do you want to plug our socials in, Amanda?
Please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Book Please Podcast. And then we're also on Twitter at Book Please Pod.
Thank you, girlies. We love you.
Thank you.